Most men think a woman feels safe when she smiles, when she laughs, or when she says, "I'm fine." But psychology suggests emotional safety is much deeper than that. Someone can smile and still feel guarded. Someone can spend time with you, yet never truly relax around you. Real emotional safety isn't announced. It's revealed through small behaviors that most people completely overlook. If you know what to look for, you'll understand relationships in a completely different way. Today, you'll discover 7 psychology-based signs that may show a woman feels emotionally safe with you. These signs aren't about manipulation, they're about trust. And the final sign is the one almost everyone misses. Every healthy relationship begins with attraction, but attraction alone doesn't create a lasting bond. What often keeps relationships growing is something psychologists call emotional safety. The feeling that you can be yourself without fear of constant judgment, ridicule, or emotional punishment. When people experience this kind of safety, they're generally more comfortable expressing emotions, asking for support, and recovering from disagreements together. That's why some couples grow closer every year, while others slowly drift apart. Because emotional safety isn't built through expensive gifts. It's built through everyday moments, the way you listen, the way you respond, the way you handle conflict, and the way you make someone feel after a difficult conversation. Let's begin with the first sign. Think about the people you trust most. They're probably the people who know parts of your story that others don't. Maybe you've shared a childhood memory, a personal fear, or a mistake you still regret. Why? Because trust changes what we're willing to reveal. The same is true in relationships. When a woman begins sharing stories she normally keeps private, talking about her dreams, her worries, or moments that made her vulnerable, it may be a sign that she's beginning to feel emotionally safe around you. Notice something important. She isn't trying to impress you anymore. She's trying to be understood. That's a completely different level of connection. But don't mistake vulnerability for immediate trust. Emotional safety develops gradually. It grows through many small interactions where someone feels heard, respected, and accepted. It isn't built in a single conversation. It's built over time. And here's what many people get wrong. When someone opens up, they rush to give advice, or they interrupt, or they compare the story to their own. Sometimes the most powerful response is much simpler. Just listen. Ask thoughtful questions. Show genuine curiosity. Because feeling heard is often more valuable than hearing the perfect answer. And that's exactly what leads to the second sign, one that quietly reveals whether she truly feels comfortable being herself around you. Sign #2. She isn't afraid to be herself. Imagine meeting someone new. At first, most people are careful. They think before they speak. They try to make a good impression. That's completely normal. But something interesting happens when trust begins to grow. The mask slowly disappears. She laughs louder. She tells silly stories. She admits when she's wrong. She doesn't feel the need to act perfect anymore. Why? Because emotional safety reduces the fear of being judged. When people believe they'll be accepted instead of criticized, they're generally more willing to show their authentic personality. Feeling accepted and emotionally safe is closely linked with trust and openness in healthy relationships. Think about the difference. One person spends every conversation trying to impress you. Another feels comfortable enough to simply be themselves. The second connection is usually much deeper. But here's what many men accidentally do. The moment she shares an unusual opinion, makes a mistake, or acts differently than expected, they criticize. They tease too harshly, or make her feel embarrassed. That single reaction can quietly damage the sense of safety that took weeks to build. Because emotional safety isn't created by perfect words, it's created by consistent acceptance. And once someone feels accepted, something else begins to happen. Sign #3. She asks for your opinion on important things. Have you ever noticed that people don't ask everyone for advice? When the decision truly matters, most people become selective. Imagine she asks, "What do you honestly think?" Maybe it's about her career, a family situation, a difficult friendship, or an important life decision. She isn't asking because she expects you to solve everything. She's asking because your perspective has become valuable to her. Psychologists often describe trust as something that develops through repeated experiences of honesty, reliability, and emotional support over time, not through one grand gesture. As trust grows, people are generally more comfortable seeking another person's thoughts on meaningful issues. Notice something important. She doesn't always have to agree with your advice. That's not the point. The point is, she trusted you enough to invite you into her thinking process. That shows respect, and it often reflects a growing sense of emotional security. But here's another mistake people make. They confuse giving advice with controlling someone else's choices. Healthy relationships aren't about making decisions for another person. They're about helping each other think more clearly. Sometimes the most supportive answer isn't, "Here's what you should do." It's, "Whatever you decide, I'll support you, and I'm here to listen." Those simple words often create far more trust than trying to have the perfect solution. And the next sign is even more surprising, because it appears during moments when nothing is being said at all. Here's something that surprises many people. Most relationships begin with endless conversations. You text for hours, you stay on late-night calls, you always have something to say. But as trust grows, something changes. Silence no longer feels awkward. Imagine sitting together at a cafe. Neither of you is talking. She's reading a book. You're enjoying your coffee. No one feels pressured to fill the silence. And somehow, it still feels peaceful. Why? Because emotional safety isn't measured by how much you talk. It's often measured by how comfortable you feel when no words are needed. When someone feels emotionally secure, they don't constantly worry about being judged for being quiet. They don't feel the need to perform or entertain every second. Relationship experts often describe this kind of relaxed presence as a sign of growing trust and security, although every couple expresses closeness differently. But don't confuse healthy silence with emotional withdrawal. There's a big difference. Peaceful silence creates connection. The silent treatment creates distance. Research shows that repeatedly using silence to avoid communication or punish a partner can reduce relationship satisfaction and emotional well-being. That's why context always matters. Sometimes silence says, "I feel safe with you." Other times it says, "Something is wrong." Learning the difference is one of the most valuable relationship skills you can develop. And that brings us to the fifth sign. Sign #5. She lets you see her imperfections. Everyone wants to make a great first impression. At the beginning, people carefully choose their words, hide their insecurities, try to appear confident, almost perfect. But perfection is exhausting. As emotional safety grows, that mask slowly disappears. She laughs at herself. She admits when she's nervous. She tells you about a mistake she made at work. She doesn't feel embarrassed showing up without makeup or wearing comfortable clothes instead of trying to impress you every time. These small moments matter because they show she's becoming more comfortable being authentic instead of trying to be perfect. Psychologists have found that people are generally more willing to share vulnerable parts of themselves when they believe they'll be met with understanding rather than criticism. Feeling accepted encourages openness and strengthens trust over time. Here's where many people make a mistake. They tease too much. They mock an insecurity, or they use something personal against the other person during an argument. That can quickly damage the sense of safety that took months to build. Remember, trust grows slowly, but it can be weakened very quickly. And the next sign may be the strongest of them all. Because it isn't about what she says, or even what she does. It's about how she reacts when life becomes difficult. Sign #6. She turns to you during difficult times. It's easy to spend time with someone when life is going well. The real question is, who does she think about when life becomes difficult? Imagine she has a stressful day at work, an argument with a friend, or disappointing news she wasn't expecting. Who does she call? Who does she text? If she chooses to share those moments with you, it may be a sign that she sees you as a source of comfort rather than additional stress. Psychology research consistently shows that emotional support and trust are closely linked to stronger relationship maintenance. People are generally more likely to seek support from someone they believe will respond with care, reliability, and understanding. Notice, she isn't asking you to fix every problem. Sometimes, she simply wants someone who listens without judging. Someone who says, "I'm here for you," instead of, "You should have done this." Because emotional safety isn't about having all the answers. It's about being someone whose presence makes difficult moments feel a little lighter. And that leads to the final sign. Sign #7. She doesn't feel the need to pretend. Here's the strongest sign of all. When someone feels emotionally safe, they stop performing. They stop trying to look perfect. They stop worrying about saying exactly the right thing. Instead, they become real. She laughs naturally. She admits when she's wrong. She tells you when she's scared. She shares both her strengths and her weaknesses. Not because she expects perfection, but because she trusts that being honest won't make her less accepted. Researchers describe emotionally safe relationships as places where people feel they can be vulnerable without constantly fearing rejection or exploitation. That sense of safety helps trust grow over time between yourself. Remember, real intimacy doesn't begin when someone shows you their best side. It begins when they believe it's safe enough to show you their real side.